Yeah, good. You have just given a lead to the next question to Dr. Siva. Now, this Dr. Siva, this talking about this, committing suicide. I think the numbers now is more than 200 over the last few months. From March to May, they say about more than 200 over people. The statistic shows have committed suicide due to COVID-19 and all that. So that's quite bad. Every day we hear people are dying. Now, how to really, sometimes we see a certain individuals look everything normal, they look normal, there's no sign of they are distressed or depressed or what, but yet they take their life silently, they take their life. Actually, what why this thing happen, how this one can be overcome, sir?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question, Jay. Let's not blame it on COVID altogether, but whether you know it or not, the rates of mental health problems and suicide has been always on the rise. Has been always on the rise, and that you normally see when a country actually starts progressing. So when there's country starts progressing, you find that there's always a group of people who get left behind, a group of people who are more stressed, and that's where it comes. So I agree with you, Jay. The numbers have been, although we don't have exact numbers to quote, but very clear right from the start of last year's MCO till now, numbers have been quite alarming. And I think our annual numbers would have definitely gone up, you know. And what's more alarming is those who are taking their life, a huge proportion of them are youngsters, are actually youngsters. So obviously, we've got people in the working group, but many of them are youngsters. So back to the main question: what can we do about it? Are we actually doing enough? I've got to salute and praise the Ministry of Health. I think they have been doing a good job, But of late, I think lots of them are overburdened because not only COVID is a problem, now they've got to look into mental health and other issues. So you find that in most hospitals, a lot of people are wearing multiple caps, different responsibilities, staff being siphoned out. So we are losing that manpower slowly. So we may not be doing as much as what we can do or what we should do. What can we do? I think first is, of course, screening, identifying who's at risk. You know, and what we should be doing actually, we should be actually screening more people for mental health problems. Yeah, you're right, Jay, because people don't talk about suicide. Suicide's always been a taboo. Suicide's always been a taboo. And sad to say, I'm in a teaching profession and we teach young doctors. And when I ask the question to young doctors, would you talk about suicide in a patient who's depressed? Many of them say no. They are scared that it might give patients an idea, which is very wrong. So we advise doctors to talk about suicide, because most people who are depressed already have suicide on their mind. By talking, just like what Michael said, sometimes may actually solve the problem. Yeah, many of them, almost more than 90%, are contemplators. They're just contemplating, thinking, shall I not? People who have decided to take their life, very small numbers. So identifying this group of people, very important. Who should be screening? We should be screening the frontliners. We should be screening people who are marginalized. We should be screening people who have lost family members, and we're really not doing that. We should be doing that because, losing people, mourning, bereavement, those are all huge things. What else can we do? We can actually train people. You don't have enough psychiatrists to go around, that's for sure. We are way below WHO standards. We are way below WHO standards. But you don't need a psychiatrist to go and talk to people. A well-trained volunteer, a well-trained social worker, a well-trained counselor can do that job, sometimes even better than a psychiatrist. So the second word is outsourcing. We should be outsourcing help, reaching out and training others to get into the community to do this work for us.
I think you just now mentioned what shocked me is you said according to the World Health, we are below that numbers, no, compared to the rest of the countries. So we need more, personnel to go out there and do the screening and all that. I was reading articles on graduate employability. Unemployment rate of fresh graduates, the social science contribute the highest. So social science and psychology is one of the the key areas. So it means more graduates who holds a degree in psychology are jobless out there. So here we have a shortage of manpower to go out there and do screening. This is the opportunity.
Let me give you a picture.
Yeah.
We have in Malaysia about 1.27 per 100,000 psychiatrists. I'm only talking about psychiatrists. 1.27, and WHO standards is actually 10 per 100,000. We only are touching 1.27.
Oh my God.
So in short, to keep it very simple, we should be keeping doctors. We should be keeping doctors and doing things to keep doctors so that these numbers go up.